we are today with a very special man, Roger Hamilton, the founder of Excel Nation.
I am committed right now to this concept of worldwide wealth, which is ensuring that we all around the world have enough, and many people around the world are right now very focused on what they can do to make a difference. And I think that we've found some brilliant ways to support all of those who really want to find an effective way of working together, of actually doing that. And that's part of Excel Nation. It is a language. It's a language for entrepreneurs. So in the same way that you might go to the World Cup and you might see all these different teams from around the world playing football and they can't even speak each other's language, they have a language in football. And so as a result, they can actually play the game effectively, pass the ball around and understand when they're onside, offside. With entrepreneurship, many people have never learned those rules at school. So what Dynamics does is it allows us, number one, to find out we have a profile, which is a game to play. So Bill Gates plays a different game from Oprah Winfrey or Warren Buffett in how they're creating wealth and contributing. And what Dynamics does is it allows us, first of all, to find out what that game should be, and then secondly, what the rules of the game are, who we need to play it with, and what the concepts of flow are, which is, it's not about what you hold on to, it's what you let go of, about how money is made and how it's made effective. I'm really excited about Excel Nation because I had a dream with my partner, Dave Rogers, this is 2002. What we're really passionate about is it possible to have a way that all of us have thought the same way, which is that we'd love to make a difference, and we clearly can't make it on our own. Many of us don't have the resources we think we need, and we have to go out looking for the resources. So what am I going to do? I'm going to change the world, I'm going to go try and find money. Am I going to go out and help the environment, or do I need to go out and get financing for my business? Or do I have to think right now about what I'm doing to be able to solve poverty and to share in a way, or should I really be thinking about going and employing a new design for my website? It's like we're always stuck with these things that are practical, with things we really want to do. So we said it must be possible in a way to ensure all that's already done. In the same way that there was a time when we all had to go kind of looking around for our food and looking around for things we need. Now we go to the supermarket, get it once, and we have much more time to actually go out and do meaningful things. So is it possible to create a supermarket for entrepreneurs? A way for us to be able to connect with each other in a way that's going to make sense in today's way, in the same way that before you could go to Covent Garden, which is a fruit market, and you would find a really easy way to come to one place and be able to actually get what you need. Now what we do is different. Now we need people to help us to run our businesses, we need people to help us to give us advice. So where do we go for that? And so when we started it, that was the idea, to actually have a foundation that will allow us all to connect. We ended up within 7 years in some 50 different countries around the world, over 50 different cities around the world. We were all meeting every month, and it became the largest social entrepreneur network in the world by the beginning of this year. But what it still had was a hierarchy structure. So we said, let's totally change the structure and turn it into Excel Nation. Yeah, and now it's a full democracy, which means we elect the people we want to have coming into it. It's a non-profit organization. It allows everyone to come in, but it's not like the internet. We use the internet, but it's not like the internet where you don't know if you can trust people or not. In this, you actually have a code of conduct, a declaration of interdependence, a passport, and you can get thrown out of the nation if you don't treat people in the right way. There was a time right here in London where London was not one big city. It was many small little parts to London, and each one of them had their own rules. Each one of them had their own ways of working, and it was only when they said, you know what, all the biggest issues in London are not the ones happening within 100 meters of you. All the biggest issues in London are issues in London. So what if we actually ended up creating something bigger, and we'll have a mayor of London, and we actually have a city of London, and what happened there is that now that it starts to solve issues of London, then what happens is that you had then cities like London, you had cities like Birmingham, and they're all doing their own things there. And they said, hang on a minute, our biggest issues now are actual national issues. So why don't we actually now really make sure at the national level, we all are agreeing as to what's going to happen nationally. Well, all of the biggest issues today are global issues. And if we take organizations like the United Nations, they do the best they can, but fundamentally, the United Nations is still focused at all the national interests coming together in the best way to compromise to create global interests. But the problem is, there's no one who's focused at the global interest. And this is not something for one body or for one world government to solve. This is something for all of us individually to be part of. For the elections in America, when you had someone like Obama who became the Democratic runner for the presidency, he got 18 million votes to do that when he beat Hillary Clinton. 18 million compares to over 62 million votes for the American Idol. And think about that, it's like, he's the president of America, and the American Idol gets like 3 times more votes. And the reason for that is because that was a fully democratic process, which meant anyone can vote with their phone straight away, And you don't even need to have a president of American Idol in order to actually choose who. I mean, we all have the choice to do it ourselves. But with president in America, you still have to go use the ballot paper, do all this kind of stuff. So what we're doing with Next Nation is creating a structure which means we all have a say in all the most important stuff by the way we vote online, the way we use technology. We're not electing in some kind of like global president or something. We as entrepreneurs, and millions of us around the world, have a chance to be able to decide on everything, on the programs, on the personalities, on the ways to move forward which is most effective, and that's super powerful.
So if I understand well, basically it's the individual with a global mind getting together with other, hopefully still millions of other individuals, really doing something for our home.
Yeah,
world.
this is how we link personal interest to global interest. This is the infinity. This is how we say, is it possible that every day I do something that's going to impact me in my personal transformation, which at exactly the same time impacts something at global transformation? I'll give you an example. When we meet in our circles and we learn something, the problem with learning is too much of learning we think is about information, but the internet's got all the information already. So true learning is actually about knowledge, and knowledge only happens when you have information and you turn it into action. So then you say, well, so if all success comes from knowledge, not from the information, but from how it turns into action, how can I collect that knowledge? And the answer is, the internet doesn't allow us to do it easily. It still focuses on information. When you and I, let's say, watch a video on the internet and we see the information in that, so let's say how we improve service in our business, and then we have a discussion about, okay, we're going to do this now in our business, we're going to take that concept and now we're going to change the way we're doing our business, that becomes knowledge. What we're looking to do is to share that within our nation online, so that when someone goes and looks at that video, they don't just get the information in the video, they get the knowledge of every entrepreneur and every circle who's actually watched that and what they're physically doing right now with their business, which is different. Now you take that concept and now let's say we talk about poverty and we say, oh, you know what? Poverty is a problem, but if we can change the way that transportation works, then we can, as a result of that, and transportation even of media, so for example, mobile phones, we can change the results we get. Well, that's information, and we all like that information. But then to actually say, you know what, I took that concept, I went out to this area of Indonesia, we equipped people with mobile phones, we did this was the result of it. That's now knowledge, which allows us sort of go, you know what, I can do exactly that same thing right now. We have circles that are happening. We have an event today in London where we've got a couple of hundred people who are going to be there, all basically working and growing these circles like cells. And we've even got a family tree which actually shows this one created that one, because you can't actually start a circle without actually having been mentored by another circle. You can't even be a citizen without you actually having been invited in by another citizen. So the whole key to this is that you cannot come in without you coming in into a space of belonging. And this is the biggest issue when we join the internet, or when we join any network, is if we don't come from a place of belonging, it's like, can you imagine if we're all born as babies, and when we're born, we're not belonging in the family. We're just born, it's like, oops, it's up to us now. And too many of us, we're like babies of the internet, or we're like babies of new technology. And we kind of show up there, and there's no one to hold our hand, there's no one there to look after us. So this ensures that no one comes in from a place of belonging. You only come in from a place of belonging. Wealth is all about time. Wealth is not about money or anything else, it's about time. And I don't mean by having time to do nothing. I mean actually knowing that you get the same 24 hours as Richard Branson or Bill Gates. And so if you know that in the very next hour, you can just surf the internet, you can just hang out. The next hour, you can just go make a cup of coffee. Or next hour, you can say, you know what, it's time for me to make a difference in life. And go and do something. And whether it's go join Next Nation, whether it's go and actually connect with the person you know you're meant to connect with, whether it's about phoning out the person you need to apologize to, whatever it is, something that's going to transform someone in some way. Two things come together, you get light. What is it you're doing right now to create that light? Because that's what wealth is all about.
Well, Roger, I can only say thank you so much for being today with me, Fly Inspiration, and well, good luck to Next Nation, and thank you so much for today.
Thank you very much.